Thank you for joining me. This is live number 2 pertaining to the migration crisis here in the United States. We're going to go to Texas. Supreme Court has issued a law that the officials in the state of Texas can arrest migrants. But the flip side is Mexico says you can't send them back, United States. So where will our government send these migrants? And what about the migrants coming from overseas, such as China? I've yet to give you information on that source, but there are people flying in from China to different ports, paying smugglers to take them over to Mexico and other foreign places to make their way to the U.S., selling their homes, valuables, to fly around the world, watching YouTube videos to show them where to meet smugglers. This is some diabolical mess going on. And then walk right through the gate, actual videos showing them how to make their way to the United States, to Mexico, okay? And slide right through the gate, and there are guards there watching. So somebody's being a hypocrite here. Because you can't say, well, we're gonna put guards there, but then they have video footage showing the people coming through the little iron gates, sliding through the little small space, and the guards just standing there. People getting arrested for shooting on their own property. They're breaking into people's properties near the border. When is this going to end? So now it's not just people coming from the Honduras, Mexico, and other Hispanic countries. We now have people coming all the way from China and making their way into Mexico with whatever they could bring, cash, to pay smugglers to make their way to the United States border. This is bad business. Here's the first source, everybody.
Begin with breaking news out of the Supreme Court. The justices ruling that for now, Texas can give local police and state law enforcement power to arrest migrants. The state law, known as SB 4, also allows state judges to order people deported to Mexico. The Biden administration had sued to block this law, saying that it trampled on the federal government's exclusive authority on immigration issues rooted in the Constitution.
Break down the ruling, and how does this set the stage for conflict between federal and state law enforcement in Texas now?
Well, this will be a dramatic sea change in enforcement at the border in Texas, Kira. This will, as Terry said, allow state law enforcement, police, sheriffs, state patrol, to arrest and detain migrants as they come across, usurping and overriding federal immigration authorities who are tasked with doing the very same thing. Typically, as you know, the federal government leads the charge in border enforcement, but Texas, taking matters into its own hands with this law, a district court struck it down as likely unconstitutional and put it on hold. But today, in a procedural decision, Kira, the Supreme Court said it can go forward. For now, Texas can begin to enforce this law, although it is not the final word. The decision was 6-3. Conservative justices Amy Coney Barrett and Brett Kavanaugh said they wouldn't get ahead of the Fifth Circuit. That's the appeals court here, who has the decision, has the ability to put this on hold. That's still pending, so that still could come. But the three liberal justices, mincing no words, Justice Sonia Sotomayor, in a biting dissent, said that this will now invite chaos at the southern border. It will upend law enforcement there. It will interfere with foreign diplomacy, obviously, because the federal government negotiates enforcement with Mexico, and could even cost cities millions of dollars for now having to build jails and prosecute migrants that they detain. So potentially a big change here, but it's not the last word. And I look to see in the next few days or even week here to see whether the Fifth Circuit does jump in and put it on hold.
Yeah, it's a weird moment in this case, isn't it, Devin? The Supreme Court, the conservatives say we don't want to reach over the appeals court, grab this case lower down, while the appeals court is thinking whether or not they should issue a stay to halt all this while they consider it. And in fact, Amy Coney Barrett, the Justice Amy Coney Barrett, says the applicants may return to this court if they don't get the result they want. That said, this is kind of reminiscent of what the Supreme Court, the conservatives on the court, did with abortion. Remember that Texas passed a law which was flagrantly unconstitutional under Roe versus Wade, and the justices, the conservative justices, allowed that to go into effect. And that, I think, is what Justice Sotomayor so exercised.
Absolutely. SB 8, that extraordinary law to let everyday citizens in Texas enforce abortion bans against their neighbors. The Supreme Court let that take effect. And so today, as you pointed out, we're seeing a similar approach by the Supreme Court. But again, just to emphasize here, yes, this could be a chaotic and messy moment at the border while they try to figure out who gets to actually enforce the laws. But again, it's very clear that this isn't the last word. Those two conservatives, Barrett and Kavanaugh, pointing out that as this shakes out at the appeals court, they expect some of these issues to come back to them. And we may well see just in the next few days, Terry, if that does happen.
Devin Dwyer, thanks so much.
All right, everybody. ABC News is the source. So how's this going to work? Supreme Court has passed this ruling, but Mexico says we don't want them back. As we've heard from some other country that says once they go out, they can't come back, don't send them back. So how's this going to work? How is this going to work? One moment, everybody. Hello, everybody in the chat. Welcome all guests, new subs. Thank you for joining me. You're now listening to the Vault XL. This is live number 2. Thank you so much. I will not be discussing any politics during this live stream. That's not what I'm here to rally for. I'm here to talk about this situation. You're entitled to believe what you want. Your political affiliation is your business. I'm just here to bring you the said information pertaining to the influx of people coming into this country illegally. And we, do not have room for us that are here. People here are barely making it with their pay, don't have a living wage. We don't have enough housing, especially in this region that I am in. And now you're talking about migrants coming here. I won't doubt that there'll be influx of them coming here to East Tennessee, West Tennessee. We have people coming from out west, period, to the Nashville, Tennessee area, East Tennessee area, and they are United States citizens. So now you have an issue of, okay, Texas can implement law, arrest them, but where are you going to take them? So that's what people don't seem to understand. Okay, we arrest them, but where are they going to go? Where are you going to house them? You got to feed them, got to clothe them. Lots of nonsense. People trying to fight for their property near the border. You're arresting them because they're trying to fight for their land. You got them beating up cops in New York. What the hell is going on? So next source is News Nation. Mexico says, we don't want them. We don't want them back. They've left us. They're not happy here. We don't want them back. Don't bring them back. Don't send them back. Very interesting.
The return of migrants. The Texas orders to leave.
Hold on one second. News Nation is the source, everybody. Source number 2.
Mexico's government said Tuesday it would not accept the return of migrants. The Texas orders to leave the United States after the Supreme Court allowed the state to enforce a strict new immigration law signed by Governor Greg Abbott. Look, obviously, you have Mexico doing the White House's bidding in terms of wanting chaos on the border, which is sort of par for the course. To that sense, though, in a way, has the administration now end run the Texas law? They say there's going to be chaos. This seems to indicate exactly that.
No. In fact, this isn't going to affect it in any way, shape, or form. Because these individuals that cross our borders illegally, they're not going to want a criminal conviction on their record. And if they trespass, they're still going to be prosecuted for that criminal trespassing. Once Mexico refuses to take them back, then these individuals are going to be handed over to the Border Patrol or to ICE ERO. So the effect is still going to be the same. There's still going to be a consequence, and that's going to be a criminal conviction on their record. These individuals don't want that. The vast majority of the people that cross our borders illegally are ultimately one day hoping to get a legal pathway, whether that's to citizenship or a lawful permanent resident alien card. That's what they're hoping. And when you have a criminal conviction, that's going to become exponentially more difficult. That's why I do not believe that even the deportation is, the fact that Mexico isn't going to take these people back, I don't think that's going to affect anything as far as the deterrent, because there is going to be a consequence for the criminal trespass.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find.
So where are we going now with this Where are we going, everybody? Because this is not good. What is going to happen now? I'm trying to find my content pertaining to the migrants. Hold on. Okay. We got this battle over the Texas border. I'm trying to find my Chinese story. Hold on, you guys. Lord, I can't find it. This was uploaded a month ago, News Nation. Why are Chinese migrants fastest growing group at the southern border? Because they can get in. They got the money to buy their way, pay smugglers. I would be afraid to go anywhere and not know if I'm going to have a place to sleep. Just assume the Americans are going to let me in, or any country for that matter. I don't care if it's Canada or wherever. And Canada is a very strict place to get in. You don't hear anybody running into Canada. How about that? Have you heard of anybody into Canada making themselves at home? Hell no. But good old America, just come on in, bring your luggage, sell all your goods, and just make yourself at home. I'm all for people being able to better himself, herself. I do believe in political asylum, people living in third world countries where they're killing the people, bombing. But the point is, we have to have rules, because without rules, people become destructive, as what you've seen play out in New York in the past couple months of the migrants taking over and fighting the police, crime, the young girl who was murdered down in Georgia. She was killed by a migrant his way through Texas, and then he made his way all the way down to Georgia to end up killing an innocent person. This is where we have the problem. And to compare it to United States crime, we know we have crime in the U.S., but the point is that they're legal criminals. How about that? They're legal criminals. And the police will do the same, whether you're legal or illegal. We find you, we're going to indict you, leave you in jail until you go to court. And you know damn well you can't let a migrant bond out, because you don't even know who he is. No social security card, don't know the real damn name, don't know nothing. Let's see what News Nation has to say about the Chinese coming over here to America. Welcome to the Vault XL, everybody. Thank you for joining me. This is live number 2. We're about to have a big, big problem, because Mexico says now we don't want them back. So that means America will have to ship them to somewhere else, like the Honduras or some other Hispanic countries, Spanish countries. Lord have mercy. It's bad.
Migrants from China are now the fastest growing group of people entering the United States illegally from Mexico.
China?
And why are we seeing these growing numbers? Here's what we know.
New York?
Customs and Border Protection reported more than 24,000 Chinese migrant encounters at the southern border last fiscal year. But that number was just 450.
A lot of people.
Right here in the United States.
The migrants previously told News Nation reporters that they are escaping the Chinese Communist Party and plan to seek asylum in the United States.
Yearning for American freedom.
Some fly to Ecuador, where no visa is needed, and then travel north. Others are flying into Tijuana Airport before being guided across the border by smugglers. The Chinese migrants are reportedly willing to pay cartels up to $35,000 for smuggling services. And for a lot of them, it pays off. More than 50% of Chinese asylum applications were granted in the 2023 fiscal year. That's much higher than the average across all nationalities, which is only 14%. So why are these migrants seeking asylum instead of trying to enter the U.S. legally with a visa? One possible reason is that the United States tightened visa restrictions on people from China over the last several years. In 2016, the U.S. issued 2.2 million temporary visas. In 2022, that number dropped to just 160,000.
They've always consistently had high numbers of asylum seekers. I think second to that is the processing times in the embassies, the U.S. embassies in China are taking so long. Also, it's getting harder for a lot of them to maybe get tourist visas. So some of those folks may have come here as students, tourists, everything like that before, and then ultimately decide, hey, I can't return to my country and seek asylum that way, versus now they can't even get into the U.S. that way. So maybe maybe they're taking this very desperate measure to do the journey even from China.
Social media has also likely played a role in the border crossings, allowing potential migrants to better understand the process and see what the journey is like to enter the United States.
Exactly. YouTube videos. YouTube videos. There are YouTube videos made to show you how to enter into the United States via Mexico. Do you think that is right for people to be uploading content to show you how to enter into the United States? Hell to the no. We are in trouble. We are in trouble. We are in trouble. Because now it's out of control with Spanish people coming, now the Chinese, next it'll be some other races. We've had issues with Haitians, people finding their ways into the United States. We don't have places for people to live that's already living here and actual citizens. This is bad, bad, bad.
Than 24,000 Chinese people were crossing the U.S. southern border illegally over the past year through September. That's more than 10 times higher than the previous year, and part of the overall rise in illegal border crossings that has made headlines. Elizabeth Palmer shows us why the Chinese migrants are willing to risk everything for a chance.
24,000 arrests of Chinese people trying to enter into this country, entering this country. This content was uploaded 4 months ago. CBS Mornings is the source. Thank you for joining me.
Yes, to make it to America.
A group of migrants struggle through the rain and mud of the Panamanian jungle toward the U.S. border. Wei Wei Wang is one of them. I'm surviving on chocolate bars, he says, and running out of drinking water. He videoed the whole grueling trek undertaken by people from all over the world, including recently a record number from China. Since January, border officials have processed more than 10 times as many Chinese migrants as last year. A surge of people with their hopes crushed by China's weak economy, repression, and corruption. The government wanted my family's land, Chen Yishao explains. And he's got video of what he says are thugs sent to beat them up. At the border, American volunteers help out the new arrivals. Samuel Schultz.
We're used to seeing border crossers here, Central Americans, Mexicans, trying to avoid the border patrol. And here we have this giant mass of Asians coming in saying, please arrest me. Where's the guy who's going to arrest me?
The route is an open secret. First, from China to Quito in Ecuador, which Chinese can enter without a visa, and then onward with detailed online advice. In this video, for example, a guide shows Quito Airport on Google Maps. If you land at night, he says, don't go outside. Next morning, catch the bus to Tolcap and carry on north. The online cartoons make it look easy. It's not.
It's very, very dangerous.
Immigration lawyer Xiaoshang Wang represents Chinese migrants in the U.S.
They could be killed, they could be raped, they could be robbed. It's just really, really risky. I keep warning people, don't come this way.
Look at all those people.
The poor rural town of Changla in China's southeast is famous for the number of migrants who've left from here for America. But for most, the price, more than $5,000, is just too high. One local woman who scrapes by selling secondhand textiles told us, my brother and his family left years ago. Of course I want to go too, but wishing won't do it. I need cash. On the U.S. border, more and more have found the cash to gamble on a new life, even though Attorney Wang says about 30% will be deported. But
70% of the people would be allowed to settle down in the U.S. In the meantime, the U.S. economy is growing very fast, and a lot of employers need low-pay employees. So that's kind of a win-win situation.
And if I'm not mistaken, it is China that says they don't want their citizens back. So now we have Mexico saying U.S. not send them back here, and China don't want them back either. So this is a problem. Two different countries saying don't send them back. So where is America going to send the Chinese? The fact that they gave more Chinese people asylums legally than any other race. Why is that? Why is that? Biasness? Why? Preferential treatment? Why? Where are all these people going to live, number one? Are we just going to have a policy of the open borders, and people will be able to just come here from wherever, however they can get here, and then America will have to pick up the tab to house these people, shelters, churches, whomever can open their door? This is not going to work, because you have people here who have nowhere to go now. They need to move because of rent, sky-high rent, non-renewal leases, evictions, so on and so forth. And then you got all these people coming here. The government will have to be handing out HUD vouchers to these people. They'll have to come up with money to try to find a place, deposits for a place, jobs, clothes, shoes, toiletries. They also will need food. So then the government will now have to put out more money for food stamps. This is a bad situation. At the beginning of this live stream, I bring you information from our United States government. The Supreme Court has ruled that Texas can arrest migrants. But the flip side of that is that Mexico has said, we don't want them back, so don't send them here. We're not going to allow them entry into the country. Did Mexico say this only because of this new Supreme Court ruling?
Biggest win of all is to have left China far behind. For CBS Mornings, I'm Elizabeth Palmer in Tokyo.
It is shocking how far they've come. And,
Exactly.
you know, Mark Esper was here yesterday, former Secretary of Defense, talking about how China's weak economy, high youth unemployment, that's what a lot of these people here.
It's a huge number, 24,000. Those are the ones that turned themselves in or were captured, and you wonder how many were not. And that's only one part of the border situation. You've got Congress working on the Santos question, and you wonder, could they pay some attention to what's going on down there? We need a lot more of everything, right? There's more enforcement, there's more judges needed, there's more legal pathways needed. All of it. It's a mess, and while our mind is elsewhere. You're right about that, Tom.
People are coming from farther and farther.
Farther and farther away. What other countries will the people be coming here to America? ABC News, Supreme Court strict Texas immigration law will take effect for now. I also played you content from CBS Mornings. What is going to happen to our great country? Should the borders be open? Because if you can't send the people back to China, Mexico, Honduras, or wherever, then what are you going to do with the people? You're just going to allow them to roam the city streets of America. Undocumented, no social security cards, no legal citizenship, to just make do. And we know that desperate people will do desperate things. As you've seen people doing already that are United States citizens. Breaking the law, robbing, stealing, murder, sadism, so on and so forth. This is a short live. I've been meaning to bring you this content for about 2 months. Sorry I'm late. But the Supreme Court has ruled that Texas can arrest immigrants. But the flip side is that Mexico says we will not be taking any citizens back into the country. So you will not be able to reboard the train to go back into Mexico. So I would also assume other countries will probably follow suit as well. So what is America going to do with these Spanish-speaking migrants? China doesn't want their people back. And naturally, those people aren't going to want to go back over there for what? This is about to become a national debt, national burden for America. Because now they have to figure out what they're going to do with these people. Put them on an island? Well, they just go put them on some type of makeshift island. They just have to make do, like how the settlers did in most countries. You just made a way. Should our borders be open? No patrol, no more federal patrol. You come in, you're on your own. Because if you can't send the people back, you don't have the facilities to house them, then what are we to do with them? I'm all for freedom But as they used to say, free ain't really free. And most black folks know that. And as you see, this is the price these people are going to have to pay coming into this country. There are no guarantees that you're going to have a place to sleep, eat, a job, housing, and United States citizenship. This is a nightmare indeed, Brooke. This is my live for tonight, live number 2. Please check out my last live stream pertaining to Riley Strange, still missing in Nashville, Tennessee. Many people on the ground searching for him. The United Cajun Navy are there to help find him. We discussed liability, who's responsible for him in this debacle that took place in Nashville. Phone allegedly was not dead at the time of his disappearance. Theories about a shirt that he wore, a homeless man having the shirt, and eyewitnesses saying they spoke with him about his demeanor and being drunk. Allegedly, he also went to 3 bars that night, March 8th. Please check out that content. I'm going to check out of here. This is my latest on the migration crisis. Feel free to go to my community board to see the said content for verification. Like, share, subscribe. Drop your comments below this video and also the videos on my page and the polls. I will also put up a poll pertaining to America and if they should just allow the borders to be open and allow the people to fend for themselves once they get here. But in the end, you're going to have to pay the piper for the people being here if you don't give them citizenship, because they're going to have to eat, they're going to have somewhere to sleep, and how's that going to work? Because you have to have documentation to get a job, a place to live, to apply for benefits. So if America won't allow the people to get citizenship, how are they going to work? How are they going to eat? Where are they going to live? They'll have to just find kind people that'll take them in, allow them to sleep in their house, their shed, their trailer. And that's also dangerous because you don't know these people. Just like the people that walk by us every day, we don't know them, but we take a chance in dealing with them. But a lot of these people are also criminals that are coming into this country. And so you are taking a chance by allowing them to come in here, legal or illegal. What say you, America, for this new migration of people? Because I got a feeling more people are going to start selling their goods and their worldly goods and make a way into Mexico and other countries to come into America. But for now, there is a law allowing Texas officials to arrest any migrant. But where and how will America house these migrants, and where will they ship them to? Because Mexico says they cannot come back, and China has said the same. Thank you for joining me. You have been listening to The Vault XL, live number 2, everybody. Thank you so much for your time. I'll be back with more commentary.